Well, it's a wonder I can see at all with these two screens in my eyeballs. Who can tell what I'll hell this is putting me through? I spent all of my cash to join this world, only to find out I feel sick and I'm dizzy. This motion's getting to me, and this was meant to change the way we play, cause real life kept getting in the way. But now my guts is churning and my eyes bleed. Whoa, it's a 3D world I'm spinning in, and I can't believe that being so immersed in Skyrim's worth the pain. But I see Facebook's born out virtual reality, and all these gamers are angered by this love they have for blindly buying into new technology. Their fury's got no grounds, their investment wasn't sound. Hey, hi-ho! It's episode 29, and which is a terrible, useless number really, 29, isn't it? I've got some facts about the number 29, one of which is false. See if you can guess which. In astrophysics, Saturn takes 29 years to orbit our sun. Mm-hmm. In chemistry, the atomic number of copper is 29. Mm-hmm. And finally, in some cultures, the number 29 is forbidden and has been replaced with a new number, Hubaloob, that roughly translates as more than 28, not quite 30, but definitely not 29, for that is the number that will awaken the dark gods and cause our rivers to run red and our eyes to boil.
Definitely number 2. Number 2 ain't true.
No, yeah, let's go number 2. Although, number 3, now in the description for number 3, they say that they're not allowed to say 29, but then they do say 29, so... I got you there, didn't I?
Got to get up early to catch you out, don't we? Well done, Simon. Woo. Right, we are reduced in number because Ash and Gareth are both currently in Chicago for an exciting Watch Dogs trip with the PlayStation blog, but they have been more than ably replaced by Keza MacDonald.
Hello.
Hello, Keza.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Keza is now editor of Kotaku UK.
I am indeed.
Which, if you haven't visited, you should check out, because it's like the American one, but with a more Anglo-centric bent, plus all the rubbish American stories chopped out of it.
What more could you want?
It's like everything you've ever wanted Kotaku to be.
Kotaku.co.uk.
Smooth.
We'll talk to you more about what you're up to, but first, suggested names from our listeners. First up is BitSocket. This is a really obscure callback. The Parchment of Destiny. This is because we did a show with Joe Merrick from BitSocket on Monday, a live show, and we were just discussing how the Elder Scrolls is such an inherently boring title for a game. So we're like, how do we jazz up the Elder Scrolls?
Just jazz it up.
The Parchment of Destiny.
There you go.
See, I'd play the Parchment of Destiny. Ali Moss went with, I kind of got to sing this because it's based on the Lionel Richie song.
I was trying to figure that out.
It's like, Kotaku, Kotak me, Kotaku for always. That one.
Oh, I thought it was knowing you, knowing me.
Yeah, no, it's say you, say me. It's that one.
Okay, Kotaku me. That's what I was. That's not how I was reading it.
Apologies for the singing. Colin Tate went with Goat Stimulator.
Oh, I read that one as Goat Simulator. And
You're like, where's the pun?
Where's the pun there? Now I get it.
Neil McLeod. This is another singing one. We have to sing it to Gangster's Paradise. Living in a Tomodachi Life. Yeah. Okay. And Mr. Sandwich, knowing that Kez was going to be on the show, just went with Not a Sausage Fest for once.
Always good.
So what do we favour?
Can I say I was not warned about all the singing that would be required in this podcast?
There usually isn't. We usually do all that in the intro and get that out of the way, but yeah, there's some very lyrical titles that have come in this week.
I like Living in a Tomodachi Paradise. No, Life. I've changed it. It's now called Living in a Tomodachi Paradise.
I like that one as well, actually.
Yeah?
I'm up for that. That's my favourite.
Well done, Neil. It's Living in a Tomodachi Life, which I'm not going to sing again. I'm not singing it this time. Right. What are we playing? 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 Seeing as you're sat on the right this time, Simon, I'm not going to have you first. So, Keza, what are you playing?
I am, appropriately enough, playing a bunch of Tomodachi Life right now.
Nintendo have done a very good job of distributing that to the media because they're doing a really good job of hyping it.
That's right. They've gotten out like a month and a half early, and it's kind of a mix of WarioWare and The Sims and Animal Crossing, all sort of mashed together. There's this kind of slightly depressing capitalist core. where you make your people happy by buying them stuff, and then they give you money because you made them happy, so you can buy them more stuff.
How deeply materialistic.
There is, well, I always thought that about Animal Crossing as well.
Yeah,
it's extremely materialistic. I have this theory about Animal Crossing that for people, in their 20s and under who missed the gravy train that was pre-recession Britain.
Yeah.
I think that for us, it's just really soothing to have a game where we can actually pay off our mortgage in installments, or even just have a mortgage ever.
Without threat of bankruptcy at any point as well.
Exactly, yeah, and just live a nice life, chopping trees down and collecting fruit. But the acquisition of objects is very much what it's about. Tomodachi Life has an element of that, but really it's about just creating a bunch of people and if you're me, a bunch of contestants past and present from RuPaul's Drag Race, and then sticking them on an island and seeing what happens and see who has babies with each other.
There's a kind of
That's fun.
games industry fraternity that are all obsessed with RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah,
I've noticed.
Yes, mostly the women.
And Gav Murphy.
And Gav Murphy.
Because I was going to say, like, the
Who's
videos.
also on my island and is great friends with RuPaul.
Well, there you go. His dream has come true. Gav Murphy's been putting out videos for O&M, I think, where can you provide lyrics for songs in the game?
You can make so basically when you level your little dudes and dudettes up, you can give them an extra thing. So I gave my little me a cat voucher, which apparently says that a cat will come to your house, but only when it feels like it. So far,
which is very
observed,
much like cats.
Yes,
yeah.
So far, I've not observed a cat in my apartment. It's been several days. But you can give them a little gift like that, or like a Wii or something for them to play with, or you can give them a song, and then the song you can do your own lyrics, which is just fantastic. It won't let you do swears, but if you do phonetic swears, it's fine.
Oh, so they do
Nice.
sing it out then?
Well, you can say bollocks with an X rather than a CK.
Well, what's brilliant is you can put lyrics to actual songs, but it'll kind of interpret it within the
it'll
music they
weird
have in
it out.
game.
I've got several rock stars in my Tomodachi world. I've got Little Barry from the band Little Barry, who's also the guitarist in Primal Scream. I've got him in there. And I just put in a bunch of Little Barry songs for him, and everyone just goes to karaoke and watches him play. It's really weird. I really enjoy it.
I do want to get my hands on it and have a play.
I gave Miyamoto the DK rap from the
DK.
Donkey, go.
So we're finally here.
Yeah, that's right.
Performing
For
for you.
with the first member of the
DK
DK
crew.
Yeah, that. I gave him bits of that, which was
You know all the words to that, don't you, Simon? You
He's
do.
bigger, faster, and stronger too. I don't own individual lines. I can't stitch them together into a meaningful rap, although I don't think Rare could either. Back in the day.
No, they couldn't.
What was that bit about the orange? There were oranges in the fridge. There was a very strange line about that.
It was take it to the fridge.
But there were oranges in
Oh, so
the
it's like it's to the
Walnuts,
bridge.
pine nuts, coconut shells, grapes, melons, oranges, and something smells. But that was like the little break it down bit at the end.
Yeah, it was the break it down. It was very weird.
And they said, take it to
Anyway,
the fridge.
So I did that. That was fun.
So what can you say at this point? Have Nintendo enforced any kind of embargoes in terms of having a...
Well, if they have, I'm screwed. And I'm pretty sure you're allowed to talk about the whole thing. Because, it's not really like you can spoiler it because you create the story yourself.
It seems they've got big hopes for it because of this kind of early distribution of it. It's very rare these days that they'll allow not only
right.
code to go out that early, but to allow journos to be so kind of open with
That's
sharing
right.
it. So
Usually they'll be like, you may cover worlds 1, 7, 1, 9, and 2, 3. That's it. Only those.
and don't say what happens to the dog.
Exactly. If you've ever wondered why, when you look at Let's Plays of Nintendo games and stuff, it's always the same 3 levels, that's why. That's why it is.
Well done, Nintendo, on this occasion.
But it's been great. I'm especially enjoying. I'm on a stupid medically mandated diet at the moment, so I've been really enjoying feeding my me spaghetti bolognese and
All the
custard
food you
pastries
can't
and
eat.
other things that I can't have, which is basically anything other than spinach and chicken breasts and almonds. So that's been good. It's been escapism. What are video games
You're
for?
me
if
having
not-
this vicariously excellent diet.
That's right.
You're just
Yeah.
like,
What is life for? What are video games for if not escaping from your miserable medically mandated diet?
Miserable
That's
spinach.
pretty much it. Miserable spinach. Sums up the last month of my life.
What is game if not for escaping spinach? Simon, what are you playing?
I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. Because
Oh, careful with that. I hear it sucks you right in.
yeah, it has. It definitely has. So we got it because you get a free upgrade to the PS4 version. So we did a little bit of investigating, and it turns out you can get the PS3 version for like £6 online. So
free
I
upgrades.
kind of cheated, bought that, played it once on the PS3, and then upgraded to the PS4 version because why not? And yeah, it's absolutely sucked me in. I cannot bear the story. I couldn't even begin to explain it because I don't know what's going on in it. I skip every possible story bit I can because it's all a load of pretentious bullshit.
He's got cut straight to the grind.
Yeah, yeah.
Who needs all that other bollocks?
Yeah, who
Straight
needs
to
it?
the rabbit slaughters.
I really like it though. I really enjoy playing the MMO on a pad because I'm used to playing like, Warcraft on a PC. Being 1,000,001 controls, and it gets so convoluted. But they've managed to strip it back really well, so you can just play it nicely on a pad without having to it doesn't get in the way at all of all the different actions and hotkeys and all that stuff.
That's why I've always wanted to play an MMO on a console. So it's exactly the kind of game where I feel like I can just kind of lean back and just let it happen.
And that's what I do. I just lie on the sofa all day long. I did on a Monday just gone. I just spent from 12 o'clock until 8 o'clock, and I didn't leave the sofa once. I just completely...
Not even to do toilet?
Well, to do toilet, yeah. To do toilet.
Do you have a chocobo yet?
I do. You have to get to level 20 before you can get a chocobo. Now I've got a chocobo.
Do you ride it?
I do.
Oh,
everywhere. Chocobo song plays.
I show it to all my friends.
I do. You can dress it up. It's brilliant.
That is good.
It's called Chumpies, the chocobo. My character's called Dumpies, and then you've got the chocobo Chumpies.
So it's Dumpies and Chumpies.
Dumpies and Chumpies. It's really, really good. Apparently, I never played it before they did A Realm Reborn, so I don't know how terrible it was. But apparently now they've sorted it, and it is really good.
See,
and it is.
I'm really tempted now, and the one thing we've been discussing today, which I hadn't even considered till you kind of came to me with like, how do I do it, is using PS4 remote play on the Vita as well.
Oh, heck yes.
Yes, because it's just not a game that requires reactions and, you don't have to worry about a slightly janky frame rate or anything like that. Nope. So it's the perfect game to kind of take with you on the move, and we could have like little 3-player sessions in the office.
Yeah. I haven't played an MMO really properly since Warcraft first came out, really. And so this is the first one I've played a lot.
Are you alarmed at how little they progressed?
Yeah, actually, it's very similar in a lot of ways.
It's funny, isn't it, how every MMO is still Warcraft from 10 years ago?
It is. But what I like a lot about this one is that, because, when you play Warcraft, you choose what class you are initially, and then that's it. But in this, it's not. You can change whatever point you want. So I chose to be an archer initially, but I could go and be a warrior if I wanted to. It doesn't matter.
I think Guild Wars lets you
does it do that as well?
I think so.
I never played Guild Wars.
The old ones did.
It's much better because you don't know how the game's going to play out for you when you choose initially for the whole, like in Warcraft.
It's Dark Souls that you do that.
Dark Souls 2 does.
Does it?
Does it?
Yeah. After a certain point, yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, you might get really sick of it, like 60 levels in, but you just change.
I think that should be like mandatory now in all RPGs, MMO or otherwise. I mean, like you say in Dark Souls.
Life's too short.
Like you say in Dark Souls, like I'm not going to freaking do it again. I'm not going to build up another character with different I mean, I did actually do that for the first Dark Souls. Yeah. But there comes a point in life when you don't have the time. And it's nice to be able to redistribute and maybe be like, I want to have a go at sorcery for this one.
It's not actually redistributing. Like so you're an archer, and then if you decide to then start being a warrior, the archer thing doesn't go anywhere. You just whatever useful. Weapon you equip, that's what you change to.
See, I think that's good game design.
Yeah, so you're not losing out on anything. You can try everything.
Down. Dark Souls does to an extent, but then it just comes with massive restrictions. So you need 30 strength to wield this. So I'll never wield that then.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll never happen.
Which is how I'm playing Dark Souls 2, because I was a Dex character in Dark Souls, and this time I'm going, I want great shields and, fuck off swords.
I'm a Dex build in Dark Souls 2, and it's really pissing me off now, because I've got to these stupid bullshit gargoyles. Yeah, have you got to the gargoyles in Dark Souls 2?
No, I'm quite because I've literally just finished Dark Souls. So I've just started up. I've just beaten the first boss I found anyway, the last giant who rips his own arm off and starts swiping.
Yeah. There's something about the Dark Souls 2 bosses. I think I can say now I'm about 3/4 through. They just lack the majesty of the Dark Souls 1 bosses. They just lack the impact.
I actually say
the visual sort of design of them is. I mean, they're cool and they're fun. They're fun to fight, but the visual. I've not met anything that's made me my mouth drop open like the gaping dragon did.
No, and the first boss I fought as well, it felt more like a standard boss battle. Like Dark Souls boss battles don't feel like standard boss battles. They feel just like, I don't know, panic rooms I call them, because you just wander in and you go, And this, I was far more measured and able to just kind of pace myself and tackle it more like a standard boss fight. It didn't actually feel that challenging at all to me. We'll see.
There's only one thing about Dark Souls 2 that I really don't like, and it's that it relies quite heavily on just ganging up on you. And a lot of the bosses in the game, there's just 2 or 3 or 4 or 6 of them. And
it's kind of an artificial
to me,
challenge,
it feels artificial. And the only time the Dark Souls did that was Ornstein and Smough, and that was just, that broke so many people that I knew. It broke me when I was reviewing the game, and the version of the game that we were reviewing was not finished, and it was basically impossible to do Ornstein and Smough.
Oh, so that hadn't been balanced at all?
It hadn't been balanced, and also you couldn't get humanity from drops or anything, so once you ran out of humanity, that was it.
You were done.
Yes, and you couldn't summon help or anything, and the online wasn't working, so that Ornstein and Smough had me I did every single thing you could do in that game without defeating Ornstein and Smough.
Blimey.
But and yeah, it took me years actually because I was so traumatized by reviewing Dark Souls. It took me years to go back and finish it.
We had Dave Cook from VG247 on our other show the other week, and he's got an Ornstein Smaug tattoo now.
Yeah, he also did a painting, I think.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
Tweet a painting that he's done of them. I envy people who came a bit late to Dark Souls after they patched it properly.
Yeah.
Because, oh my god, that game pre-release was just an utter nightmare. It was horrendous. There were like three really
I
unfair
swooped
things
in
about
as it was balanced to perfection, essentially.
I got Dark Souls 2 early, but I didn't play it until 2 weeks after it came out because I thought this time I want to play it properly like it was intended, and I want to be able to, because I love co-op, I love helping people out. You know, I usually have a go at a boss until and then after like 15 attempts I'll summon someone. But what I love doing is just helping someone else out with that boss that made you scream at the television. It's like you're someone's knight in shining armor. I really enjoy that.
Oh yeah, that was it. I love that sensation the first game when I brought someone in and they just waded through for me, and I was just like, and they kind of praise the sun and then disappear into the ether, and you're like, oh, that's so nice.
I love being the hero.
Magical.
It's so much fun.
Aye. So yeah, I've been playing Dark Souls 2, and I can talk about it now. I've been playing Watch Dogs as well. I went to Ubisoft a few weeks ago to play it through for a radio piece I was recording, and the embargo dropped, I think, like a day or two ago because everyone's at the Chicago trip now. And I was really pleasantly surprised by it. Obviously, people have been waiting for it for quite a long time.
Yeah.
That delay pissed a lot of people off. But it really feels like they've actually been spending that time kind of filling it with as much stuff as possible. For better or worse, I guess, there are so many side missions, some of which are really compelling and original. Others don't seem to fit in very well at all. You've got like pub games, for example. I don't want to do that stuff, and I don't want to play chess. You can play chess in it. But the stuff that's great is the augmented reality games. So just as you can with mobiles now, you can basically bring up a kind of a HUD in the real world, and suddenly like a part of Chicago will suddenly become the site of an alien invasion, and things will start appearing through portals, and you're using your phone as a gun. Or you can kind of create your own levels where you're basically collecting coins and having to avoid skulls. So you get ones that are preset, and then you can actually create your own routes and share those with other people to kind of compete
That's
over.
Totally side mission, though.
Yeah, it's all side missions.
Has it got the Ubisoft problem of there just being way too much stuff in the game?
It's different to Assassin's Creed. The way I see it is Assassin's Creed was... I didn't play much of Black Flag, admittedly, but the other ones were always full of stuff, but none of which really amounted to anything.
Yeah,
and
that's right. It felt like it had all been developed. It's siloed development. Like no one had ever met each other.
Just modular, and then they just pieced it all together and gone, there's your game.
Exactly,
and it was all stuff that was kind of attached to the narrative. This all feels generally a lot more well thought out, and you have more reason to kind of play through it as well, because they're actually enjoyable. It's not just like it's with Assassin's Creed 2, I realised I was doing all this stuff, but none of it was actually any fun. It was just like, oh, I'm just opening painting shops and buying paintings, and why am I doing this? Why am I actually bolstering my Monte Regione base when it doesn't really amount to anything? Whereas this all just feels really enjoyable. The other thing you can do, these trips, so there's kind of what look like drug dealers on the street, what they're actually doing is sending kind of an audio signal that kind of knocks you to the floor, and you play through these kind of really surreal mini games, but they're really kind of fully realized mini games with their own kind of skill trees and things that you can actually play over and over again. The one I played was Spider Tank. You're this huge kind of Ghost in the Shell style robot tank that can climb up the side of walls, and it's a great way of kind of using that environment without it kind of affecting canon, or without it affecting the narrative. And I must have played that alone for an hour solid, because I was like leveling up my Spider Tank and just kind of enjoying.
It's a great way of taking advantage of the premise, which is, augmented reality.
Precisely, yeah.
That's a fantastic idea. I wouldn't have thought that they would have been so ambitious with it, but there you go.
Yeah, I think they have, and it's a lot more well thought out than I thought it was going to be. I thought a lot of the phone-based activity was going to be very gimmicky feeling, but I think from what the short amount I played of it, it seems to be very well integrated so far. Whether that pans out to a full 40-50 hour experience remains to be seen. But
is that how long it's meant to be?
It's an enjoyable 40-50 hour game.
Yeah,
it's a deeply unrewarding 100-hour game. Yeah. Paul Lawrence on Twitter was asking me for some Android recommendations, because I've just updated to a HTC One M8, and Ash has just got a HTC One as well. Here you go. There's a picture of Keza's cat on her Android phone.
On my Android phone.
The games I've been playing recently, I've been playing a game called Radiant Defense. I don't play many tower defense games, but this one has a really great kind of neon drenched look that I really enjoyed. It's free to play, which is quite suitable considering our discussion later. But kind of very well balanced free-to-play game as well. The Room 2, which is also an iOS, but I've really enjoyed The Room 2. If you played the original, kind of
I did.
Extensive, really kind of elaborate and very beautifully presented puzzle box.
I've not got the first one.
Kind of an escape the room game in reverse. Very nice. And Space Team, which is great if you've got a few other friends with Android phones, because it basically involves shouting at each other to try and keep a...
Nonsense as well.
It's, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just discombobulated.
Randomized nonsense at each other, to kind of keep a spaceship.
It's like what all of Star Trek sounds like to me. It's good.
Yes.
Enjoy some Space Team. without an iOS. There's a problem with all because I have an iPad Mini that I bought when I was really, really, really bored in an airport once. So bored that I
Must have been especially bored.
I was so bored that I spent all of my money. I had I think I had a 6-hour wait for my flight, and I'd already bought like some gold eyeliner for no reason and everything else that was affordable and 3 books. And I'd read 2 of the books and I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I bought myself an iPad Mini. But ever since then, it turns out that all the games that I played on Android just come out earlier on iOS, basically. So, now I play things on that, and then months later they come out on Android, and I'm like, oh, done that now.
Are you playing anything on the Android at the moment? Or?
No, I'm playing FTL all the time.
Yes.
I love FTL. I won it. I beat the game. I've won it. No one ever wins FTL.
No.
I won FTL last week. I was so impressed with myself. Admittedly, it was on easy, but even on easy, it's really, really hard.
It's a victory. A victory's a victory. It's fine.
A victory's always a victory in FTL. When I did have an Android phone, I played a bunch of Space Team. I still play that because most of my friends have Android phones. It's super good.
I want to play Space Team.
You play it right now?
Yeah, let's do that. Screw the rest of this podcast. Okay, so that's what we're playing. Should we get to know us, Simon?
Why not?
Excellent.
Getting to know
Keza.
you. Getting to know all about
Keza.
Me.
This is more of a getting to know us and Keza. So first up, I'll just fill you in on some of the stuff we've been doing recently. Yesterday, I made an appearance on the Twin Humanities podcast, which is completely dedicated to Dark Souls, and had a good kind of very indulgent hour-and-a-half chat about my experience with Dark Souls. I believe that's going live on Saturday. Also on the YouTube page, we've got a brand new Pointies View. We've got the archive version of our live show Zeitgeist, which featured a guest appearance from Joe Merrick from the wonderful BitSocket. And also, we've recently put up a new episode of We Need to Talk About, where myself, Chris, and Edwin from TotalXbox.com, the official Xbox magazine site, have a big long chat about Titanfall. So, Keza, yes, we've mentioned that you recently launched Kotaku UK.
I launched a website.
Yes.
That's basically been my life.
How was that for you?
It was, yeah. there was a lot of it, a lot of website to be launched. Turns out it's really difficult. Really, really difficult to launch a website. Who did know? Who knew? I was certainly expecting walk in the park. But yeah.
Naively strutted in going, how hard can it be?
Fine, I already had a website once. I got another website now, it'll be fine. We started work on it in March. So I worked for all of March and most of April. And then we launched a couple of weeks back.
So was a lot of that kind of seeding it, I guess?
Yeah, it's, well, firstly, getting around the immense ball ache that is actually building a website and talking to the people who build websites. That was fun.
Oh, those people.
Yeah, I mean, our devs are heroes. They're amazing. They've done a brilliant job. But
so is it an entirely different template to the Gawker one that Kotaku used?
It's not made using Gawker's Kinja platform. It's a totally new build based on WordPress. The CMS is based on WordPress, but the design is kind of a cross between a blog and a more traditional website, like your GameSpot, your IGN kind of, layout.
Nice.
So we have big pictures and little quotes, but then also a nice column so it's actually clear what's when. I like that. I think it's good. I really like our design, genuinely. I think it's pretty nice. It's also covered in adverts, but, what are you going to do?
So is your aim to kind of mimic Kotaku style overall, or are you bringing a certain kind of spin to it?
Yeah, so Kotaku UK is basically Kotaku, but more. So we take almost everything from the States overnight. And then during the day, basically because the way the time zones work, Kotaku during the UK day, if you ever read it, it's usually like, my Japanese love pillow, etc. And that's because they do like their weird Kotaku-y stuff between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. their time. So we're basically sacking all that off or moving it and refocusing. And
focusing more on your love pillows instead.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my cats.
Your extensive collection of love pillows.
Pictures of my cats.
Miniature figurines.
That's right. My miniature figurines. Videogameminiatures.tumblr.com if you're interested.
There you go.
Tiny
it's a real thing.
Yeah, I genuinely, that was when I was unemployed for a week. And I was clearing out my desk of stuff and I realized I had hundreds now of miniature video game things because I love miniature stuff. And I thought, I'm going to take photos of these and put them on the internet so it doesn't feel like they're a complete waste of space and money. So I did that.
What was it again?
Videogameminiatures.tumblr.com.
I'm going to check that out.
It's full of adorable crap that cost me probably too much money.
That's a better title.
Probably too much.
It definitely
adorable crap that probably cost me too much money.
It's less SEO friendly though.
No, it is.
No one's going to be searching adorable crap.
So basically the way it works with
you haven't
Kotaku,
checked my history recently.
Kotaku take stuff that they like from us and we take stuff that we like from the US, so it's like a symbiotic thing.
Oh, it's a mutual thing then. Okay, it's a two-way transaction.
When I write a massive thing on, like last week I did a big thing on fanboy psychology. I found a behavioural psychologist and got him to explain to me why fanboys behave like such utter jerks all the time. So Kotaku US published that and we published it too, and we have this kind of place. So we're part of Kotaku, but equally we're like our own little satellite of it, so we can kind of behave how we want and publish what we want, which is nice.
Cool.
And so, yeah, we're publishing, I think, really interesting, slightly out there video game stuff. Lots of long features on interesting things that nobody else talks about.
Cool.
And then lots of random stuff like pictures of Pikachu trying to get on a bus. So it's also good. I'm really enjoying it.
What was the general feedback on that fanboy psychology article?
It was really interesting because the main thing that blew my mind was that the psychology of somebody who loves a product is the same as the psychology of someone who loves a person. So it's the same brain chemical thing going on in your head, the same kind of dopamine thing happening. So when you say to somebody who just really freaking loves the iPhone that the iPhone's shit, it's like you're calling their girlfriend ugly to their face. So that's why you get all this kind of weird reaction, this sort of strange personal investment. So that's
really interesting.
It totally blew my mind that the way that the product and the marketing is done is to create this sort of like feeling like it's a person or a thing or a friend or a lover even for really obsessed people.
It's an odd kind of unconscious response to something, because I don't think I've ever had that kind of brand affinity, at least not since I've been like 12
That's
years
it.
old.
When I was little, I had it for Nintendo.
Yeah.
But that was just playground tribalism, which apparently some people just never grow out of, although most people do. But yeah, it's the whole fanboy psychology thing was genuinely fascinating. But yeah, that concept that it's like emotionally they're having the same response as if you were to slag off their mum or their girlfriend or their boyfriend. That really puts it into perspective for me, like why people behave the way they do and they get so emotional about things that have nothing to do with them. It's a product that has literally nothing to do with them, really.
It's like defending multi-billion-dollar corporations.
Exactly.
That's always baffled me.
It's utterly bizarre. But there you go. That's why. It's because our monkey brain, they take advantage of our monkey brain to make us think of the product as a person.
The bastards.
The other two things I learned about human psychology from this conversation with this psychologist was firstly that our brains aren't designed to change. Like, we're not designed to change our mind. We're designed to make everything around us fit what we already think.
Okay.
That's kind of, it's basically because the brain runs at a ridiculous, it runs like 20 times as fast, 100 times as fast as the fastest computer anyone's ever managed to build. But its energy consumption is 20 watts, which is, a third of a light bulb. So the way it does that is by basically going on autopilot all the time.
So basically the Matrix robots had a point when they were using us as batteries.
Well, the Matrix robots really wouldn't have got that much out of us.
They could have powered a little bit of a light bulb, though. So,
but yeah,
efficient processing with very low power,
That's good. Yeah, people are very good at that. Brains are very good at that. But one of the things so we're actually not designed to change our minds. Like, you give people data and they will interpret it to fit their own worldview, because that's literally how our brain's designed. It's useful for, it wouldn't be useful in the wild for us to be like, well, maybe this mammoth is friendly and won't gore me. You've got to think everything's always the same. Like, that's how our brains.
It's quite a primal response, isn't it?
Yeah. So when you believe something, disabusing yourself or someone else of their belief is incredibly difficult because of the way the brain is designed.
Wow.
So that's why when you present like actual fact, like incontrovertible evidence to people, especially in stupid things like console wars, and in important things like politics, they're probably still not going to change their mind because we're not designed to.
That's weird, because I tend to base most of my beliefs and decisions on kind of, I don't know, morals and ethics.
But if I were to tell you that gun control, for instance, if I were to tell you that actually did lower crime and it worked.
If it factually did.
Yeah, but if I were to tell you that factually it definitely did, you're looking skeptical.
Yeah.
Like, if I was to tell you I had loads of evidence that was true, even if I had evidence that was true, you'd probably still be like, nah.
No, if it was true, it's true.
Yeah, but
I'm an idiot, though. I'll believe anything.
But this is it, though. Like, I would struggle if someone said to me...
I'm sceptical.
If someone was to say to me gun control works and it lowers crime, there is thankfully no factual evidence to suggest that. But if you came to me and said, or for me, God exists, if you were to say, I've found some proof now, I'd still be like, I don't know. It would take a lot to convince me.
yeah.
If it was like I was in my shed, go and say hello, I'd be like, all right, how you doing, God? That'd be it. I'd be converted. Like, why are you so like petty for an omnipresent entity? It doesn't make sense.
But one of the things that I thought was enlightening about this whole experience of learning about fanboy psychology was that fanboys are just endearingly human. Like, a lot of the things that they do is just very, very human responses, which I think was cool. Kind of rehumanized fanboys for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We've got a few questions from our listeners as ever. The first one is from Chris Davis, who says to us all, if you could be any female character in a game, who would you be?
Daenerys Targaryen. I know she's not technically a game, but she is in the Game of Thrones. She's in that
definitely
game.
a game.
Which is definitely
I
a
would
game.
I would be
Nina just leant over there and did the happiest little face.
I would be Daenerys Targaryen for all time.
I'm
She's the best
sure she's in the
female
Game of
character
Thrones
ever.
game at some point.
She is, yes.
Probably.
If I had to pick a game character, and not just go on about Daenerys Targaryen for the next hour and a half. Probably Lara Croft.
That's who I was going to say. New Lara Croft.
Yeah, new Lara Croft. Well,
Of course.
I don't know, actually. I like old Lara Croft as well.
Yeah, the one who doesn't have to be put through the ringer.
Yeah, I'd rather be the one that just, shot people a bunch and did cartwheels.
Fought T-Rexes,
quipped. Yeah, fought T-Rexes, and quipped and fell off stuff rather than the one who gets impaled on unpleasant things.
That's all you'd say as well.
You bastards.
I think I'd definitely be Lara Croft. Plus, she has bigger tits than me, and that would be fun. I'm sure that would be entertaining.
Old Lara, definitely.
What person hasn't imagined having large Lara tits in their life?
Me.
Not me.
Not you. Well, I can't say too. I can't say Lara Croft now. Ooh La La from Space Channel 5. She has a good time.
The outfits, man.
She has a good time.
Oh, the
She has
outfits.
a great time.
You could wear such amazing things. You could basically dress like you were going to rave every day of your life.
Whatever happens, I'll give it a dance.
With no irony. It'd be brilliant. What a good choice.
Who would I be? I'd be Faith from Mirror's Edge.
Oh, so run around.
Athletic and rock hard. Yeah, just a badass. And also a bit of parkour because I'm very unathletic.
I thought you said you're very athletic.
Oh yeah, no, I'm deeply
exactly
athletic.
like her.
Look at these sculpted abs.
I would love to be able to do parkour. Can you imagine? Just be like, I'm just going to run across this rooftop now. I can do that.
Yeah, but additionally in that kind of slightly effortless video gamey way where you just never run out of breath.
Or sweat.
Exactly. She's like the perfect Shaw commercial, isn't she? She's incredible.
I'd love to see the sweat like dripping down the
the eyes, yeah.
like, getting in your eyes blurry.
There you go,
that.
Dice Mirror's Edge 2, make it happen, sweat down the eyes.
That's what we're all waiting for.
And then you can pay for the Lynx tie-in DLC.
A friend of mine a few years back, we were both horrendously unfit, I still am, and we decided to go to do the gym. We were going to do the gym together. It was like a January. And so we went to the gym and we did some running on a treadmill for 15 minutes and we nearly died. And my friend was like, heaving, like leaning against a treadmill, and she looked at me and she said, I've just figured out what eyebrows are for. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, keeps the sweat out. I've never sweated enough to need eyebrows.
Yeah, they're sweat buffers.
Before this moment.
They're like sandbags for your forehead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tip for the unathletic, that's what they're for.
Jim Gallagher says, when do you consider that you finished playing a game? When the credits roll, when all the achievements you can be bothered to get are got, or when you reach the coveted 100% completion rate?
When I get bored of it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
honest.
It really varies from game to game. Yeah, like
Yeah.
some games, like Portal 2, I got all the achievements in, so I just didn't want to stop playing it ever. But like Stick of Truth, I basically stopped after I finished the game. Don't really want to carry on with side stuff.
I have a weird habit with games where I'll play them to about 4/5 completion, so right to near the end, and then I'll just stop. It's very bizarre. I tried last year. I picked up like a bunch of 6 games that I had done that with, and I picked up Mass Effect 2, and I was like 4 hours from the end. I really should have just finished it, but I picked it up and I was in the middle of a spaceship surrounded by people I didn't recognize, in the middle of a mission that I couldn't remember. And it was really quite fun playing Amnesiac Mass Effect, just being like, "What are we doing here? I don't know. I'm not sure. Tali."
That's a thing, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I very rarely finish a game, to 100% completion, but then some games I will play for hundreds and hundreds of hours.
That'd be a great idea if you return to a game like Animal Crossing, you have weeds in your village, but a game like Mass Effect where it remembers like, you haven't returned to your save game for 6 months. And everyone's name reverts to question marks and everyone's like, what was my name again, Shep? And you're like, oh, God, this is awkward.
I couldn't remember who I'd slept with. That was the worst bit. Because I knew I'd slept with someone, or maybe multiple.
It's awkwardly asking.
Yeah, it was really awkward because I was like sort of flirting, and then someone would respond, and I'd be like, did we? I was really, really confusing. Anyway, so this doesn't generally happen in real life.
I think for me it's changed over time. The majority of games now it's when the credits roll, that's when I'm kind of done. I was more of an achievement whore when I started at Microsoft, and that was more to kind of save face with the community, I think, more than anything, to kind of build up my gamer score so they didn't all think I was a complete loser. But it depends.
What kind of loser would have a large gamer score?
Yeah, I know. But generally, I think it really depends on the game. For me, getting 100% really depends on whether it's because you haven't seen all the game has to offer, as opposed to, you haven't collected 70 pieces of star shards or something like that, and it's just, I'm not really seeing anything new or doing anything new.
I think once you get to the point where you've played a lot of video games, you actually just stop doing that stuff because you've done it.
Yeah, you know what to
lots and lots
expect.
of times.
It's only things like the Mario games where every time you find something new, it's because you're discovering something new and genuinely exciting. Yeah. That, like 3D World, for example, is like, I had to 100% that because it was essential to see everything in that game. That was important to me.
Did you play that by yourself or with people?
by myself.
I had
Most of the time.
I played it mostly by myself because my partner hates Mario games, which has nearly broken us up on several occasions. And also I had no friends. Well, I do have friends who played Mario, but not who live near me because I moved recently. So I played most of it by myself. But then the other week, I had a friend over from Germany, and we played The Lost World together, and it was the most riotously entertaining time I think I've ever had with a multiplayer video game.
It's
it was
brilliant.
so fun. I was like, couldn't even breathe. I was laughing so much.
It is. It's absolutely
Wonderful
hilarious,
game.
especially when you all completely collapse together
Yeah.
and just fail in just one incredible
fantastic.
act of inadequacy.
I tried to play it with my partner, and it just went really badly.
Just turn into a screaming match
Yeah,
instead.
it was just because we tried to play Super Mario Galaxy 2 together once because I was determined to, he thinks Jack and Daxter is better than Mario, which
Oh my
no offense
God.
to Jack and Daxter, but it's just not. And
I don't know how to feel.
in Mario Galaxy 2,
If you're listening, because I know who you are, be very ashamed of yourself.
in Mario Galaxy 2 we were doing pass the pad. So basically it was if you complete a level or you died, you passed the pad. So I complete a level, give it to him, he'd walk off the nearest ledge. I'd finish a level, I'd give it to him, he'd jump off the nearest ledge.
Dick move.
And this kept happening because he just, he didn't grow up with 3D platformers. He has like a strange spatial problem with
Right.
them. Where, there's just... So with New Mario, it just got really frustrated because he just kept dying. That was unfortunately, up until the other weekend, my only experience with multiplayer Mario. And I thought, why is this fun? This isn't fun.
We played it over Christmas, didn't we? We had a really good time playing some of the tougher levels
just so
over
much
Christmas.
fun.
And
Yes,
just,
it's
as you say, just absolutely uproarious. Just the laughter was just constant. I'm a big advocate of couch-based co-op multiplayer whenever it's possible because it is a million times better.
That leads into the next question pretty well.
Does it really?
It
Oh,
does.
look at that. Cedric
Look at
Heath
that.
asks us, it's almost like I planned it, but I didn't because I wasn't looking at the next page. He asked a bunch of questions about co-op. He had some obsession about having a whole co-op themed show, but I'm going to pick out this one question, which is, what's the best modern or best all-time co-op game?
That Mario 3D World is definitely up there.
So modern, I think.
Modern.
Along with Monster Hunter.
Yes, that was going to
I
be
think
mine.
that's consistently across the whole series. That's the best co-op game I've ever played.
Yeah.
I don't really play co-op games very often. I think one that I played, the one I think I definitely played the most of is Left 4 Dead.
Oh, I'll tell you one that you loved. Battle Block Theatre.
Kill your friends, collect the gems. Yes,
Is that co-op? Does it sound co-op? Kill your friends.
It says that in the song, but
It's
yeah.
kind of competitive co-op. Yeah, that's actually really good. I didn't play.
It's kind of Four Sword styly.
I was going to say Four Swords, but I only ever managed to play it as intended exactly one time for 2 hours. We managed to get the requisite number of GameCubes and Game Boy
Game Boys and
SPs
link cables and all that
Yeah, I
nonsense.
only managed it, and people only managed it once, but it was an extraordinary hour and a half.
Did you play Mashed?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
That's kind of
that's competitive.
it's competitive,
Slightly
but
grittier
still
micro machines.
Brilliant. Yeah, that was we played that one endlessly. That one.
Mashed got critically panned.
They
and
had
I loved it.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it, and they brought Wrecked out as well, which is on the
Juiced,
Xbox.
was that also a thing?
Juiced
Was that a thing?
is a thing,
But it's not
I
the
don't think it's
same
not the same,
thing.
not
is
the same thing. Wrecked was like a spiritual successor of
Oh,
Yeah,
Wreck,
no.
not Juiced.
and it was not
Macked.
Juiced is the
very
Kinect
different game.
steroid simulator.
Yeah, I love Mash.
That was a hell of a noise.
That's a hell of a juice. Sorry. It was meant to be someone injecting.
I got it.
steroids.
It's just horrible.
It just sounded like someone with a squeaky bicep. Okay, thank you very much for your questions, everyone. Let's move on to the news gong.
This is the news, and these are our views. In 60 seconds, flat. It's not very long, but we're ruled by a gong that hates meandering chat.
It's time for the 60-second news gong. Keza is new to the show, so we will explain it very briefly. We will read out some of the biggest news stories of the week, and then we have just a minute to discuss the story in question. And at the end of those 60 seconds, Simon will sound the news gong.
Frantically getting my phone out.
Oh yeah, you got to get your countdown phone
bloody
out.
week.
But on this occasion, what's the gong this time, Si? Here's a sound that'll be familiar to a lot of people. The sound that smashed 1,000 pads. And also, we have this new Joker card rule. So if we believe that any of the stories, but only one of these stories, warrants an additional minute, we have to collectively vote on the Joker card to give it a second minute's worth of our attention. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we don't have to do it at all if none of them warrant it.
No.
Right. I'm going to go first.
Go.
According to a report in Japanese Games Bible Famitsu, Tecmo Koei is reviving the Project Zero franchise in a big way with a new game, film, novel, and comic all in the works. As many Wii U owners have been hoping, the new game is exclusive to Nintendo's struggling console and will hopefully make full use of the gamepad for the series' trademark spectral photography. It's not guaranteed for Europe, as the Wii-exclusive fourth installment, Project Zero Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, didn't make it to our beautiful continent, unfortunately. Next up, Pokemon Snap U, hopefully.
Yes.
Yes.
Please.
Question. Does the Wii U need more games that make obvious use of the gamepad for it to click with consumers?
Start. Yeah, but Project Zero is not going to be the one to do it. I mean, obviously it's all about cameras, but your average person who's going to get the Wii U probably won't get this.
I don't think anybody cares about the gamepad. I don't think anybody cares at all, and it's probably not worth even trying.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it is, because it's a great idea.
I do
But then
really.
so was the iPad, and that happened first.
I do really like Project Zero, though. I'm really, really, really happy they're going to make another.
Oh, I love the series.
Yeah.
Project Zero 2, probably my favourite.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
It's too scary for me, to be honest.
It is. I'm terrified. I've
It's
watched
genuinely
people play
terrifying
it.
games.
Yeah. I play it for a little bit and then have to turn it off, and then someone else carries on for me.
Well, my other concern is it's one of those games where you think, oh, of course, the gamepad's going to be the camera. And then it'll be like, no.
Hopefully
They'll
you
come
can
up with
turn
one of these
that off.
crazy Japanese excuses for not implementing it, and it'll just be your inventory.
Even if it is,
Shit.
you'd
And
have
that
to.
screen.
You'd have to stand up surely the whole time you're playing it.
No, not necessarily.
It's gonna be
because-
like-
no, because you move around in the third person, and the camera view is first person. So basically, you'd kind of. Okay. I think that's enough, Simon. Story, please.
Stories.
Story, please, Simon.
So, it's not really a news story. It's more of a general statistic roundup.
Okay.
But it's an interesting statistic nonetheless, I thought. So this week marks the Wii U as old as the Sega Dreamcast, when that console was discontinued. An alarming part of the statistic is that the Wii U has only sold half as many as the Dreamcast had at this point.
That's sad.
It is so sad.
Really sad.
The saddest.
We've discussed it before, but seeing this statistic makes Nintendo's failings with the Wii U seem all the worse. Once Mario Kart, Smash Bros. And Bayonetta 2 are all out, how much longer do we really think the console will last before Nintendo decide to pull the plug? Start.
I once went on the BBC, I think, 3 months after the Wii U came out, and it had just had its first disappointing sales. And I said, rather than flogging a dead horse, if this doesn't pick up in the next year, I think Nintendo would be wise to move on. Mm-hmm. I got absolutely reamed by Nintendo fan people.
Really?
All over. Yeah, the only people who think that I don't like Nintendo are these people. But I think actually I was right.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
That,
But as we now
at this
know, that's
point-
just a chemical response. They can't control it.
they can't do
We've
anything
learned.
about it. It's endearingly human of them.
They should have held off on the Wii U for a year, and maybe it would have made a difference, and had the games
Held
that everyone
off on it? They
released it a year later.
No,
than
they
what
already
did.
released it too late. They had it ready for years, but they were trying not to.
Really?
Yeah, they were trying not to get on. Well, that's what I hear. They were trying not to.
Kind of scupper the Wii band. Yeah.
Scupper the Wii, because the Wii went on for much longer than they expected it would.
I bought it.
Because if it had been 2 years, if it had come out 2 years before, it would have been exciting new technology as opposed to slightly cheap versions
Yeah.
of the technology that we already have.
So it's everything that I bought for it, I bought a year after I'd actually bought the console. So it's like, Mario 3D World and all that stuff. If that was there at launch, maybe it made a difference. But yeah, it's not.
I think there's not much hope for the Wii U now. I mean, hopefully it'll make a little bit of money. Hopefully it'll just break even, and then Nintendo can move on.
I'm on a Joker card this one.
Joker card.
Yeah, okay. Yes, and it's great that we've got those games to look forward to. We've also got X, hopefully, coming for it, and we
Hopefully.
know that a Zelda's in the works, and that's probably the only thing I can think that might hold up the eventual discontinuation of it, because it always takes forever to get a new Zelda game
It
out.
does take a long time.
A long time. But that's it. I think I'd be interested to see what they do at E3, like what their messaging is at E3,
Yeah.
like whether they go, this console has a future, because it has been all but abandoned by third parties, and even their kind of biggest champions during the Wii era have completely abandoned it. Capcom stuck by them to great effect during the GameCube years and the Wii years.
The Dreamcast statistic. So it came out here in 99 was discontinued in 2001, but it came out in Japan a year earlier. So it's
But apparently, even
3 years.
taking those into account,
I was just
that
clarifying.
it's still a lot worse.
Yeah, it's just
It's weird. I don't know. It's like you say, it came out too late because people were already anticipating the PS4 and Xbox One at that point, so it just didn't seem like enough. Well, that could be a topic for a future great debate,
Yeah.
I think, definitely. Which would be great, because when Ash and Gareth come back, I bet they can't wait to talk about Nintendo.
Oh, they love it!
They just love it so much!
I've got some news.
Keza with the final news.
Here we go. Ready? There's being a bad loser, there's being a bad loser, and then there's being a complete dick. The New York Post reports that a teenager from Long Beach was a victim of a swatting prank after beating an anonymous rival on Call of Duty. The story doesn't specify which one. The joker in question told authorities that he was 17-year-old Rafael Castillo and he'd shot his mother, prompting a pointless 2-hour standoff involving 60 officers as well as helicopters and fire engines. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, and the cops are now trying to track down the hilarious sociopath in question. Apparently, swatting is considered a game in itself, and those involved are awarded points based on the extent of the police response. In this instance, one can only assume they scored quite highly. Question, is this a sign that some gamers really are losing touch with reality?
Start.
There's definitely a sense of a lack of perspective.
Imagine calling the actual SWAT team on someone who just beat you in a video game.
I don't even know how you'd get a hold of a SWAT team.
Well, what he did was he called up and he said, "I've killed my mother and I will kill again."
Oh,
My
and they
name is
just
Raphael."
instantly went,
Yeah, and I
"Oh,
live
okay."
here.
They were like, red
Yeah.
alert, send them all out, yeah. I mean, 60 seems like overkill, but this is America.
60 cops for one guy with a gun, but yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
But like such a shocking use of abusive resources and...
Ridiculous. Did you say that the guy as well, whose house they went to, he was just like still playing the game and he couldn't hear anything?
Yeah, so they kind of surrounded the house apparently, and they spent 20 minutes like going...
and all they could hear from inside was...
Yeah, exactly. but apparently they found his mum in the kitchen, so they knew nothing was actually wrong.
Amazing.
But they still had to make sure that it wasn't him that had made the call, whether it be a plea for help or whatever.
Right.
But the fact that some guy, they're trying to track this guy down by his digital footprint, apparently, I would have assumed finding his gamer tag and getting his details from
surely,
Microsoft
yeah.
might be a good way of going about that. But the fact that swatting itself is a thing that's done now,
That's pretty distressing.
that really scares me. Didn't really answer the question, but who cares? And finally, we have a happy story that Simon found out. We thought in the style of the news, there was a nice bit of news at the end. So we thought we'd do the same this time because we haven't got a fourth newsreader. And the story is this. With the help of the Oculus Rift, pensioner Roberta Furstenberg, who had been diagnosed with terminal cancer, has been able to fulfill her dying wish of walking outside one more time. Her granddaughter Priscilla, who's a games designer, reached out to Oculus founders to see if they could help. They immediately responded with an Oculus dev kit, and with Priscilla's friends and family, they created a virtual world filled with all the things she loved the most about the outdoors. Butterflies, waterfalls, and forests with fairies.
Totally outdoors.
Is that what she loved about the outdoors? Okay.
That's apparently what she loved about the outdoors.
Fine. You can check the video out on YouTube, and it is truly lovely. Sadly, Roberta passed away 4 weeks after the video was made, but how wonderful is it that the Oculus Rift was able to do something so special for her before she passed?
That is lovely.
That's lovely.
Also, the Rift represents a real game changer for the severely disabled and terminally ill.
Yeah, when you think about the work that like special effects are doing already with inputs, I think.
Yeah.
It's when you watch the video and she's like the granddaughter's like, oh, just look left now, look right, and she's doing it, and it's kind of like going, oh, like it's so sweet, so sweet.
Oh, Simon, I like the name of your challenge. Let's get to it.
Hold on to your circuits. It's challenge time.
Googly boogly.
Googly boogly.
Googly boogly.
Googly
Yes.
boogly, googly boogly. Okay, so my challenge this week. I've taken a bunch of similar things and typed them into Google. You've got to guess which one came back with the most search results. But remember, it's not necessarily to do with what's most popular. It's what Google thinks is an appropriate search. So certain games or films could also be other things. For example, Journey could refer to the game or the band.
Or going on an
Or
actual...
just-
Or going on a journey.
Concept.
Yeah. Increasing its search results. So, yeah.
Oh.
So I've got 20, got quite a few, but they're kind of quick
20?
fire. So,
Wow.
you just,
We buzzing for the ones we think have the most...
so I'm gonna say the two things, and then you buzz in and say which one you
I
think
get
is.
it.
What happens if you buzz in first and you get it right? I know you get it wrong.
Get it
sorry.
wrong?
Does the other person just default to the point?
I don't know. Is that fair? Yes, because then you know
It's putting
because
yourself
you're being
out there, isn't
yes,
it?
put
It
yourself
is.
out there.
It is.
Okay, yeah. So if you buzz in,
You're gonna
get
be
it
a
wrong.
long Mexican standoff now.
So Keza could feasibly win if I just buzzed in for every question.
Yes.
Okay, well, good luck.
Slow
So
and steady wins the
first
race.
of all, Mario or Sonic?
Dan. Sonic.
Mario.
Yes.
What?
I win.
Mario got 180 million search results, and Sonic got 60
I would
million.
have thought Sonic
thought
would have been
Sonic
related
would,
to the concept.
Yeah, I know. This is the
But
thing.
again, probably a,
Okay,
esoteric concept.
fighting games. Dead or Alive or Street Fighter?
Keza, Dead or Alive.
Yes.
Because of the band.
Or the
And the song by or Wanted, Dead or Alive.
Wanted.
Yeah. That's actually all that mostly comes up on the first page is that before Dead or Alive comes up.
Bon Jovi.
Pro Evo or FIFA?
Dan. FIFA.
Yes. FIFA got 330 million. Pro Evo only got 25 million. Rubbish.
Give me that point.
Call of Duty or Battlefield?
Keza. Battlefield.
No.
Damn!
No.
Damn!
Call of
Easy
Duty
points.
got 333 million. Battlefield 48 million. Tekken or Mortal Kombat?
Dan, Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
Damn it.
23 million to Mortal Kombat, 8 to Tekken. A Bug's Life. Oh, sorry, no, we're done with games now. Now it's other things.
Oh,
A Bug's Life or Ants?
Keza. Ants.
I'd say A Bug's Life because Ants has a Z.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
what
exactly
was the
right.
Z? That's not fair. I was not informed of the Z.
It's 4 million to Bug's Life, 747,000
That's
to
not
Ants.
fair. Stupid Z. I hate Zs.
Interestingly,
I'm
if you
renaming myself Kessa.
if you misspell things, like if you leave the apostrophe out of Bug's Life, it jumps from 4 million up to 14 million.
Really
People and their grammar.
highlighting the literacy problem.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Ooh.
Keza. Star Wars.
Yes. Star Wars is 523 million, and Star Trek is only 1 million.
What?
I know.
That seems insane.
Doesn't it?
1 million results for Star Trek.
McDonald's or Burger King?
You sure it's not 1 billion results?
Keza. McDonald's.
Burger King.
What?
McDonald's?
No.
I know. McDonald's 32 million. Burger King 137 million.
That's ridiculous. That can't be correct.
It
There's
is.
like all the other things that are also
Well,
McDonald's.
it's not, but it's however Google just decides to do whatever. I know it's some of them are
Crazy
weird.
algorithm.
That's insane.
Coke or Pepsi?
Dan, Coke.
Yeah, by only 500,000. They're both 27 million. But yeah, you got that point. Thomas Was Alone or Super Meat Boy? That wasn't the last gaming one.
Keza. Thomas.
Yes. Thomas Was Alone. Super Meat Boy got 34 million. Thomas Was Alone, 366 million.
Probably just because the name Thomas.
Was Alone.
Lots of lonely bloggers called Thomas.
Yeah.
Galaxy Chocolate or Dairy Milk?
Wait, you didn't give me my point.
I did, I just gave it to you.
You totally got
Okay, I'll give you another one just in case I didn't.
You didn't. You genuinely didn't. It's
Okay,
fine, though.
there we go.
It's not like I care.
She does care.
Galaxy,
So competitive.
Galaxy Chocolate or Dairy Milk?
Dan, Galaxy.
Yeah, I thought it'd be Dairy Milk, but
That's
yeah,
just because of the word Galaxy.
26 million to 24. Twilight or Hunger Games?
Keza. Hunger Games.
Yes.
Yes.
Twilight 62, Hunger Games 409 million.
Wow.
I know. People really do. There you go. Point. Dogs or cats?
Ooh.
With a Z?
No. with an S.
Dan. Cats.
No.
Ah!
Point for Keza.
Cheap point.
It's cats 118 million, dogs 162. Google or Bing?
Keza. Google.
Yeah. Bing
Mocking the afflicted.
Bing is 88 million. Google is 2.7 billion. Facebook or Twitter?
Dan. Facebook.
No.
What?
Twitter.
It's because of all the news
Individual
articles going
tweets and
according
yeah.
to Twitter.
Oh.
Facebook is 5 billion. Twitter is 14
I'm glad I
billion.
didn't jump on that one.
Okay, Ant or Deck?
Keza. Ants have betrayed me once before, but I'm going to go with ant.
It's Deck.
I hate ants.
It's an abbreviation of December.
Ants are the worst.
Ant is 69 million. Deck is 502 million.
That's
quite.
Go
what's
Deck.
just ridiculous.
Salt or pepper?
Is that S in the group or the
No. I
the
think
condiment or
The
whatever?
condiments.
Dan, salt. No. Yes.
Oh,
I mean, yes. Salt and pepper. Yeah, so it's salt's 945 million.
What are the
pepper's
scores
64.
so far?
So far, you've got 9 each.
Ooh, there's
Does
only
that mean
two
there's
left.
only two left? Or...
Yeah.
I've got a tiebreaker should this have happened. So, right, fancy dress, toga or
Did
pirate?
you wait? The actual words fancy dress pirate and
No,
fancy
this is the
dress
theme.
toga.
This is the theme. So it's just toga or pirate.
Keza. Pirate.
Yes. 61 million to 17 million. So point Keza. Apple iPhone or Samsung Galaxy?
Dan, iPhone. No, hang on.
Wait.
No, hang on. Oh, I have.
Is that your final answer?
You can't change it.
Okay, well you're wrong.
I know
yes.
I'm wrong because I just realised Galaxy again is the
Samsung
word
Galaxy.
Galaxy. Shit.
But
That's it.
it was close. Samsung iPhone is 949 million and Galaxy is just over 1 billion, so it was close.
So what's that? 11 plays 9.
Yeah.
Ah,
So competitive.
Yeah.
That was fun though. 'Cause
Yeah.
I won.
You- That's what makes games fun, isn't it? Winning.
Oh, unfortunately, Keza can't do next week's
I know,
challenge.
it's a real shame. About that.
Oh, well done though. I like that challenge.
That was good. That was a really good challenge. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You just don't know what the answer's going to be. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Good challenge, Simon. Time for the great debate.
The internet's home to prejudice, illiteracy, and hate. You can be called all sorts of things for the feelings that you state. But if you're kind, calm of mind, and able to articulate, then take our hand and take a stand and join the great debate. Then take our hand and take a stand and join the great debate.
Right, this week's topic. According to King's Games Guru, that's his actual job title, Christ, Tommy Palm, all games should adopt the free-to-play model and microtransactions as long as they strike the right balance, citing his own Candy Crush Saga and Blizzard's Hearthstone as good examples. Does the man have a point, or is this an incredibly reductive stance?
Can we do dramatic readings of the comments?
We can do, yes. Let's do the first. Let's do the first three. Then I'll do the first one. Our friend Timur Hussein said, "It sounds like someone wants everyone else to guarantee the security of his own business."
Sean R. Murphy from Twitter says, King would say that because it's in their own interest to keep their stocks afloat. King can shove it after the candy stunt.
I just can't beat that. I just can't. Ask Anison 4 says, I want to say no, but the fact that they're making a buttload of money means I'm absolutely wrong.
So slightly conflicting there, but I think all driving towards the same point. It's basically why execs are paying attention to this Games Guru character's words.
Literally calls himself Games Guru on his business card.
Yes.
God, it's like calling yourself a social media.
I don't know if he named himself Games Guru or he applied specifically for the job
That's
of
not
Games
the kind
Guru.
of job
and
that
was-
you get headhunted
was
for, is it?
designated the role of Games Guru.
We should just change our job roles and put Guru at the end.
Just put Guru at the end.
Animation Guru.
Editing Guru.
Yeah.
What are you? Presenting Guru / writing Guru?
Editorial
Dog's
Guru.
body guru.
Whatever. Yeah.
Just Guru.
Jack of all trades
It's
guru.
like people who call themselves social media gurus were
Oh, they're the
just
worst.
the
Yeah.
worst people in the world.
It's like you cannot be a
In
guru.
the whole world.
followed closely by the social media ninjas. Who also,
But it's always because they're self-professed gurus as well. I just, anyone who lacks the
Yeah.
necessary modesty. it's just kind of,
the self-awareness.
yeah, it's like I'll take expert at a push.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Expert.
Expert
Expert can
at
be
a push.
independently verified.
You can have like scientific experts and I'll believe everything they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But guru just suggests a whole other kind of plane of existence that I'm just not willing to entertain. But yeah, you know, execs are paying attention to this. Of course, this chap is speaking on behalf of King. Therefore, yes, of course, he wants everyone to say that's the way things should go. But as Ask Anison says, they are making an absolute buttload of money and people are paying attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Solaris says, not every game, but maybe something, but maybe anything designed to be played long term and changed dramatically, obviously like MMOs.
It's a very interesting emphasis there.
Emphasis.
Dramatic reading.
Facebook.
And on Facebook, Thomas Wergler says, I wouldn't mind if all games had an element of free-to-play, as long as I can choose to cough up the full cost and not pay more than it would under regular circumstances. No heroes allowed, no puzzles either. On the Vita does it beautifully. Most games fail horribly at implementation, though. There are many games I would play around with if they were not subscription-based, and I can see it working for many games that you would usually purchase up front. The main problem with the business model is that it would be more difficult to tell the quality content from the shovelware. My spare time is more important to me than money.
Very good.
Thank you.
That was so dramatic.
It was.
Couldn't hold
Was
on.
it not?
So
Capital.
I was reading. I'd actually said this, and then as I said this, I then read Simon Parkin's article on Eurogamer immediately afterwards.
Simon
So because my
I'm
question.
working on that exact
Oh
feature
no!
right now. It's the
So yeah,
worst.
my question was, what do we make of Namco Bandai creating free-to-play versions of its kind of big existing franchises? Most recently, they've just released Soul Calibur: Lost Swords on the PS3, a single-player only experience that reminds me of the old. What did it used to be called on Soul Blade when you went around a map and you powered up your weapons and all that?
I don't remember.
I can't remember the name of the mode. completely escaped me right now.
That's it.
That's all I can
I've
remember.
got like a mental image of it.
So I think it's like that. And now they've just announced a dedicated, and I've got to say, it doesn't look bad. It looks kind of Anarchy Reigns-ish, a game called Rise of Incarnates, a 2v2 battler that's also free to play for PC. Yeah, what do we think? Do we think Namco are doing the right thing?
At Tokyo Game Show last year, when they were talking about all this stuff in September, the Ace Combat Infinity guy finished presenting it, and we had a chat, and I was like, so are you a bit sad that it's had to go free to play? And he just looked at me and went, would you buy another one at full price? And it was the saddest question I've ever been asked by a game developer.
Oh, wow.
I felt so bad for him. I was like, no, to be honest, I wouldn't. Okay, I kind of get it now.
Oh, man.
It is in a way. I mean, when you think of it like that, it is a kind of a lifeline of sorts. I think that's what I think it's the same guy you spoke to in Simon's article that basically says the important thing for us now is kind of reintroducing these franchises to a whole bunch of people. And like you say, if the game's going to be full price, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And yet, because they look at the number of people that download a demo of a game, 3 million, but only a percentage of that are actually going to splash out for the full game. So when you get the free-to-play version, you're effectively getting both in one, and it's up to you to make the decision to get whatever else you want. Because it might turn out there's loads of these like untapped Tekken and Ace Combat fans that have just never really gone, well, I don't want to spend 40 quid on that.
Yeah, Asia is also just very much less averse to the free-to-play model than we are here. Well, not that we're averse here, according to Candy Crush's figures, but, you know, more the free-to-play model kind of is fine in Japan and China and the rest of Asia.
Well, here's
Everyone
my theory on this. This is what I've put my arcade theory. You know, the arcade scene, in effect, in the West is completely dead. It's not doing brilliantly in the East now either. And to me, the free-to-play model, the microtransaction model, is effectively an arcade at home. Is that you have the game there, but you have to pay a little bit to play it every so often. Candy Crush and games like that, that's the kind of model they're doing. If you went into an arcade and played Candy Crush and you failed a level, you'd have to put another 20p, well, now 50p to a pound to carry on playing it. So all they've done is kind of, in many ways, translate the coin-op model to mobile and home gaming.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And that's why I think the East is already so receptive to it, because they already had an acceptance of arcade culture. It was already kind of there.
That's a very good point.
And that's just the way I kind of think of it. We're accustomed to the full price model at home and going to an arcade and putting money in, but now they've just kind of transposed that to the home. People are kind of reacting to it quite violently, but when you actually think of it in those terms, it doesn't actually seem so bad. It's like, well, I go into an arcade and I pay 50p to have a game of Tekken. So why can't I be afforded the same opportunity at home?
Because you're not in the comfort of your own home. I think going to an arcade is like a little experience. Like, oh, okay, I'll pay for that. But when you're sitting at home and you just try and play a game on your phone, it's like, pay for this. Like, no.
But it depends on the implementation of it, and that's kind of what we'll go into.
Facebook. Michael Hobson on Facebook says, an upfront price is a good way to know how much the game is going to cost you. FTP and IAP, in-app purchase, make this a lot blurrier, and it would be utter madness if everyone did this. There's also a problem where there's no filtering of quality if every game is free to play. Hard to tell if a game is good or if a lot of people just downloaded it because it is free to play. Finally, in-app purchases make game designers lazy. I've noticed a lot of IAP games rely too heavily on IAP as a game mechanic. IAP should be applied where it works, not as a cheap trick to get more money. Pay to advance faster is a disgusting trend.
Yeah, a lot of people who responded on this were really against the pay-to-win model, as they've called it.
Yeah,
as am I.
It's basically a way of exploiting children in purchases and free to play. You know, it's not difficult to get a child to want a new thing. And it's not all that difficult for that child to pester their parent enough to get them the new thing, especially when it's 75p or whatever.
Yeah.
I've got my partner has an 8-year-old son, and he plays a lot on his Kindle, and it's all free games. You can't buy him a $4.99 game that just has everything in it. Like, they literally don't exist. Like, all the games that are designed for kids are free within app purchases, and it's always like, oh, but I really want the new shotgun, or I really want this, or I really want that. Please, can I have it? And it's like, no, you can't. And then it's just, it's a strop.
Yeah.
I can see why I think that children are driving the whole free-to-play model on Android and iPhone.
It makes sense. That they're the main buyers
They've got
of
no impulse control.
stickers, for sticker albums and collectible cards and the Pokemon trading card game, things like that. That's largely kids that are invested in that.
But they've got no impulse control at all.
No,
they can't weigh up the benefits of buying it versus they can't. They just want it.
No, they've yet to grasp the
Yeah. It
the
takes a long
intricacies
time.
of personal economy.
Yeah, some people never quite grasp it.
No,
but yeah, I think that I think it's kind of distressing because I think it should be illegal for in-app purchases to be sold to children.
Yes.
I think there needs to be regulation on it so that if you're playing a free-to-play game and you're under 18 and with new fingerprinting, that should be easy to tell. You shouldn't be allowed in-app purchases. It should be for adults only. But I think if that happened, the whole model would fall apart.
Well,
phones.
Precisely, and it's partially because it's the same with a lot of these industries. Like when there's sort of a wild west, as it were, in terms of the legality of the situation, you can guarantee that as many businesses as possible will exploit it for as long as they possibly can before the right kind of litigation is brought in to limit that behaviour.
If you look at any licensed game on there, any Disney game, any game from any license that exists on the App Store, it's all free to play, designed to get children to buy small amounts of things, and I think it's really not on.
No. And as I said, like I've said here, like I'm actually now averse when I'm looking through the App Store and I see games advertised as free. I'm already like, well, I know this is where it's.
Yeah, I do that as well.
Can you imagine if FTL was free to play? Do either of you play FTL?
No.
You'd be like, every time you blew up, it would be like, hey, have 50p, you can have another go. It would just be the worst game in the world. You'd spend hundreds of pounds on it.
Yeah.
Well, you could, but you probably wouldn't. You'd probably just go, no, thank you. Goodbye. I'm never playing you again. But, I'd much rather, I think this might just be because we are now officially old in terms of the new internet age. But I think I'd always rather pay £6 for a game that I can play forever.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think that it should be offered. Somebody, I may be reading it out later, but somebody already said that like they really like the Killer Instinct model because you get the game you want for as much as you're willing to kind of invest in it, but you're never kind of when you've paid for all the characters, etc. You've paid as much as you would for a retail box game, which is fair enough.
Or you can buy a light version of it.
Or you can buy a light version of it, and you can kind of limit. If you're only interested in X number of characters, then you can totally choose to pay kind of half as much, as long as you're fully aware of it. But that to me is good because I think having a limit, that's where kind of the in-app purchase and microtransaction model suffers for me, exactly for that, because kids can abuse that. And
they're literally designed to let kids abuse them as well.
Oh yeah, no,
in
completely.
The vast majority of questions.
I've been pre to presentations, or people have told me about presentations they've attended internally at big companies where they've talked of like the $1,000 gamer. That's their dream, is someone who's so invested in it they're just willing to keep kind of pumping money in it to play it, and that's seen as a good thing. Rather than the person who's going to pay their £40.
It just makes us in like the gambling industry, which is
that's actually the point. Yeah, that's it.
Horribly amoral.
It's genuine greed. It's just like it is like the gambling industry. It's precisely that. It's like how can we create a game that's suitably exploitative enough to milk that much money out of it? And again, that's kind of what returns me to the arcade model, because what I'm always reminded of is particularly Williams' games in the arcade, stuff like NBA Jam and Mortal Kombat. They would all have really difficult artificial ramping.
Yeah.
And especially games like Smash TV, which was just impossible to do on a credit unless you were some kind of god. They were designed to have someone putting money in like every 60 to 90 seconds, just get that cash kind of in. And then again, bringing that to the home and not giving you a viable alternative to just go, okay, you can have all of the levels and unlimited lives as long as you pay this flat fee, not even offering that as an alternative. I think that's where they should start clamping down and actually provide a sort of a wall, a total spending wall.
Well, because the reason they don't do that is because that puts an upper limit on what people can spend, and they rely on the upper limit not being there.
Well, yeah.
That needs to be introduced, I think.
That's what I mean. It needs to be there because that's what's going to stop that exploitation.
Facebook.
Chris Shannon says, as with any statement, stating that all X should be Y is short-sighted and should be disregarded as a serious normative statement.
Bit of the bro creeping in there now.
Could all games have microtransactions? Maybe. At the end of the day, the reason we have diversity in the medium is because different approaches work better for different environments. He's put that in quotes. The reason why all games are not Y isn't because we're Neanderthals and unable to adapt to Y, but because Z, AA, BB, why did I start with X as a variable?
So lost.
Suit different situations better than Y. I don't know why Chris started with X as a variable. It did make the last few
It should have, yeah. It started with like J or K, a lot more room for manoeuvre there.
Yes.
So yes, as I said here, when a model is successful, it's natural for other companies to kind of blindly adopt it too without considering whether it's an appropriate fit for their particular game, which is the point that he's making here. It's very easy to say all games should be free to play, but I think that just suggests a complete lack of understanding of the variety of game types out there. It's like, oh yeah, the next Gone Home, that should be free to play.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just imagining how that would totally ruin Gone Home.
It would just.
Can you imagine?
It would ruin most.
Do you want to see what's in the attic?
Yeah, exactly.
50p.
Pay up.
Precisely, and I mean, and that's also the reason it will never be allowed to happen, even if all the major publishers decide to adopt that as the norm and that's the model. You know, there's still going to be the indie world to kind of treat gaming with the dignity and respect it deserves.
Yeah, I don't think all games will ever be free to play. I think most games probably are already if you look at it by sheer volume, but most games that matter aren't.
By the same time, as I said before, the one reason I'd like some of these games to have this wall as well is because sometimes I actually do enjoy them, you know, guiltily or not. You know, I'm playing through Candy Crush because I'm kind of playing it with my wife, and it's just kind of a nice.
Candy Crush is a fun game.
It's a nice game, and it's challenging, but you know, you can see when it's cynically challenging versus genuinely challenging. But it's just something like I like. Well, last thing before I go to bed, sometimes like me and my wife will just have a quick game of it and try and get through a level or whatever, and I just enjoy it for that. And if I had the option of saying, well, I want to pay to have unlimited lives and have all the levels, but I understand that there's microtransactions are still in place for bonus items or whatever, you know, I'd be happy with that as a trade-off, because then they wouldn't be sabotaging their business because people would still be wanting the bonus items, but I'd be able to pay like a $5 and still just enjoy the game as it was intended.
I just agree with free to play for cosmetics. You know, want to buy a hat? Cool. Want to buy a shirt? I've spent lots of money on cosmetic items in free to play games, including random Korean fantasy golf MMOs that I played when I was a teenager. I spent a bunch of money on.
Was that Pyongya or something? Was it?
Pyongya.
Pyongya,
yeah.
That's it.
Pyongya was great. I bought a special caddy that
I don't know where that came from.
How do you know?
I had a cat for a caddy, but the cat was just a paper bag with a cat face drawn on it. I bought that as a caddy. I bought special bow for my hair and a bunch of special balls that were good colours. I loved it. I spent probably 15 quid on that game and just on cool cosmetic shit that I wanted.
And it's worked very well for like Team Fortress 2 and things
Dota.
Like that. Because
any
there,
good free to play game.
Yeah, because there you've got a game that is a fully formed, fully realised, great game, and people recognise that and they reward it.
Yeah, they'll quite happily buy a cosmetic item. I think you'd happily buy a cosmetic item in basically anything you're into. If Monster Hunter was free to play, but you could change, actually that wouldn't work at all. But if you could change the colour of your armour perhaps, something like that.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, something little like that, or buy a particular hat. But then again, unfortunately in Monster Hunter your equipment affects the game.
Oh yeah, and it's also such a fundamental part of the gathering process, isn't it?
If there was another game in which you could, you know, play the game fine but get cosmetic stuff. Although I've just thought about how much money Animal Crossing would have squeezed out of me if that had been a thing.
God.
Can you imagine?
Oh god, yeah.
In that game,
if Nintendo want to undo the damage caused by the Wii U financially, it's just like just release microtransaction Animal Crossing and.
Oh my god, that would make so much money. Like if I were a business person, I'd be drooling right now.
Yeah.
At the thought of the dollars.
I can imagine there's already been shareholder meetings at Nintendo where they're literally just screaming at them, going, "Why don't you do this?"
I'm quite glad Nintendo has resisted, because can you imagine how evil that game would be?
So far,
there's going to be definite clones somewhere on Facebook social
there's
games
one on
and stuff.
Facebook. There's one on Facebook that
we
tries
got
to
to pay
be
for that, I
Facebook's
assume.
Animal Crossing, but it's pay for all your stuff.
It's not. Talking of Nintendo, I read a story recently about a game called Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, where there's a variety of mini games that are, I think, initially all charged in the States anyway at $4 a piece. There's 5 mini games. I think it's like basically it would cost you $20 to buy them all, but if you attempt to buy them at that price, the Rusty, who's this like old baseball playing hound.
This was out in Japan for a long time.
Yeah, you have to haggle with him, and you can give him treats you can reward him, and you can basically haggle the price down. So ultimately, I think you can get the price of each game down to $2, and it won't just kind of say, "Oh yeah, just take the $4." It will actively encourage you to try and get that price down. So what it's really doing is making a $10 game feel twice as valuable.
Yeah, that's very smart.
It's rewarding. It's not even rewarding. It's creating the illusion of reward.
What's interesting as well, and this goes for all mobile gaming, but particularly free to play, is that millions and millions and millions of people are supposedly playing these games. But when we write about them, even on the biggest games websites in the world, nobody gives a crap. Nobody reads it ever. You know, you can write about League of Legends, free to play, Dota till the cows come home on, you know, the GameSpots, IGNs, Kotaku's, Eurogamers of the world. Nobody reads it. And I'm like, where are these millions of people, and why are they not reading? I mean, it seems like there's this real division between people who play them and like gamers. Like gamers are not those people at all.
No, I mean,
they're not even the biggest game market anymore.
I don't think League of Legends players, etc., are the people that pay any attention to the games media whatsoever.
Yeah,
they play what they like and they just stay on that game. And
it's strange that like gamers are not the biggest market for video games anymore. No, and haven't been for a very long time actually.
It's a very traditional vein of gamer, of player that reads the media, you know, that those people that used to buy games mags and enjoyed reading reviews and really cared about that kind of thing. But so many people are very happy to align themselves with a single game now, and they don't need to know any more than that they enjoy it. Would you say it's the same for like EVE Online and things like that? Like,
I think so, yeah. Like a lot of the people that you meet who play EVE don't play other video games. Last year I went to EVE FanFest. I've been twice and I'm going again this year. I can't wait. Love it. I've never played a minute of EVE, but I love FanFest. It's because it's so fascinating and people are really interesting. And the second time I went, I took, I was working for IGN at the time, and I took our junior video producer guy, and he'd been on a couple of trips with us before, and he's always like, because people are always like, oh, we're from IGN, wow, and they were always like really enthusiastic, and I was like, don't expect that here. They won't even know who we are. They won't give a crap who we are. And it was true. Like everyone there was just like, from where? Sorry, you know, no one didn't know. And you'd think that people who are really into a video game would know about, like, you know, the biggest games brand out there in the media, but no. And one time I was at an event, and I was sharing some really gross tacos with a pro gamer, like a guy who was one of the best people in the world at playing LoL or something like that. And he was asking me about video games and be like, I've heard of something called Dead Space. Is that any good? And he didn't know really much at all about other games. He was interested, but he didn't really know much at all about other games. And I was like, well, you play video games for a living. Like, you make your money out of being extremely good at one video game. And it seems bizarre to me that you wouldn't know about, just, you know, have basic knowledge of other ones.
I guess if someone's like a champion sprinter, they're not going to necessarily know a great deal about the pole vaulting world.
Exactly, yeah. It's very strange. It's a brave new world. But I mean, I'm wondering, because back in the day, when we were all wondering how to cover MMOs in about 2005-ish, we were all trying to figure out how the hell to cover MMOs, and we were all like, oh, launching MMO versions of our websites and all, like, trying to do MMO ongoing coverage, and we realized that no one was reading it because they were all on the forums or somewhere else. And I think that, you know, with free-to-play and stuff, there's a question now, like, all the money people in the games media are like, how do we monetize this? How do we get these people reading? How do we get them looking at ads? And so I just don't think we can. They're not our audience. They're different people.
It's just not what drives them. Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Fair enough.
So gaming is growing, but the games media isn't.
No.
For that reason.
It's a strange one, actually. I would have thought, like you say, if there was dedicated media for that would really attract them. But they kind of...
It really doesn't.
They're more content to be in their community and
it's
not
like
have...
Football Manager is a great example of this. A Football Manager is a game that sells millions, but write about it and no one reads it because they're all on the forums listening to Sports Interactive. They don't need us. You know?
It's true. Actually, Gareth is on the show as a big Football Manager fan, and he's on, I think it's the Football 365 forums regularly, which largely has little to do with football and a lot to do with animated GIFs and other things. And I think that's where everyone gets together. And it's actually what we spoke about before in terms of playing things like Monster Hunter. The community for that it's just people talking to each other. They don't need the kind of media telling them what they should be thinking about Monster Hunter. Everyone just sharing their enjoyment of the game and tips and clues and secrets and things like that.
When you do read things that media have written about Monster Hunter, a lot of the time, and this is very interesting because it used to be that games media were the experts, and now we're not. Like, at all. We don't know as much.
There's not enough time to be.
No, we don't know as much about individual games.
You've got to spread yourself way too thin.
Yeah, I mean, I reviewed a game last year, and there's a guy on YouTube who's done, I think, 30 hours worth of videos on that game, having played it through 4 or 5 times. You know, and that's his review, is the 2 hour long, 3 hour long, sections. And I'm like, well, I can't do that, you know? But I think a lot of people don't need that.
No.
Frankly.
But it's just not practical.
Yeah,
and like Peter Molyneux in podcast form, so ends another show that commenced with so much promise, but ultimately under-delivered. We'd promised to do better next time, but you know how it goes. Please continue to review us on iTunes or Stitcher and let people know about us because we're incredibly needy people. We love the attention.
I think this is a great podcast. I highly recommend you listen to more.
There you go. Not my words, the words of Keza MacDonald, Kotaku UK. Keza, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
It's been really fun.
Do you want to do a final plug for the site and your Twitter?
Yes, please visit us. We're Kotaku UK. That's kotaku.co.uk. I'm on Twitter at Keza MacDonald, and you can follow us on Twitter for the website at Kotaku_UK.
Marvellous. Simon, thank you very much as ever. Thank you very much for dabbling with the dials for once.
Oh, I'm so scared. I've been watching lights go up and down, and then like something's going on the screen.
Gareth's usually our sound man, so Simon's kind of stepped in and he's just been twiddling dials.
I don't know
and
what I'm doing.
Looking like he pretends he knows what he's doing.
I really don't.
All right, say goodbye while your cheeks are full of air.
Sound like stuck in a bubble. Like. This isn't that funny. Why am I finding it so funny?
Because you're not supposed to. Psychology.
Thanks, psychology. Fuck.
Deep breath.